Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Definitely.
So it's this English learning podcast called Daily Money Briefing.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
It's actually pretty cool. You get the
Yeah.
financial news and kind of a language lesson all in one.
Oh, I like that. Sort of killing two birds with one stone.
Exactly.
Today, we're diving into the latest from your sources, uncovering three pretty critical global stories.
Yes, ranging from economic shifts all the way to a surprising new market opportunity.
Exactly. Our mission, as always, is to pull out the most important nuggets of insight for you. Okay, let's kick off with the U.S. economy. The latest numbers, well, they paint a slightly concerning picture, wouldn't you say?
Ah,
Your sources are highlighting that the economy actually contracted more than initially thought in the first quarter. GDP fell, I think it was an annualized rate of negative 0.5%.
that's right, a downward revision and definitely contrasting with the economist predictions for a small increase.
Right. And what's really interesting, or maybe worrying, is that at the same time, the core PCE price index, that's the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, right?
Correct. It strips out food and energy for a clearer trend.
And that rose 3.5% year over year. So less growth, still high inflation. What does this signal?
Well, what's fascinating, and maybe a bit troubling here, is the clear emergence of stagflation concerns.
Ah, stagflation.
Yeah, that unsettling mix of slowing growth combined with inflation that just won't quit.
Hmm.
And this really leaves the Federal Reserve in a very tight spot. I mean, they have limited room to maneuver.
Like trying to steer in fog.
Something like that, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Think of it like trying to drive with one foot on the accelerator and one on the brake. It's just incredibly challenging.
So for you, the listener, what could this mean? Higher rates for longer.
It could well mean that,
Mm-hmm.
or potentially a greater risk of recession as they try to thread that needle.
Mm-hmm.
Your sources also mention that past tariff policies are still kind of weighing on trade.
Right.
And some analysts are now saying quite openly that stagflation isn't just some theoretical risk anymore. It might actually be becoming reality.
Okay, so from those big macro shifts, let's pivot. Let's go to Seoul,
Yeah.
looking at a very specific, but I think globally relevant urban challenge. Sources indicate home prices in Gangnam, famous Gangnam, they've surged. And it seems that heat is spreading to nearby areas too, places like Sangdong and Mapo, the Han River Belt.
That's right. The price increases are becoming more widespread.
So what's the government doing? How are they responding to this rapidly escalating situation?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, this isn't just, about prices in a few neighborhoods. It's really about how quickly rising asset values can force a government to step in quite aggressively.
To prevent instability.
Exactly. To
Yeah.
stop things bubbling over into broader economic instability. So South Korea's government is prepping a pretty comprehensive housing stabilization package.
Okay, what's in it?
Measures under review include expanding what they call adjusted areas and overheated speculation districts.
Right, those designations allow tighter rules.
Precisely. They can impose things like higher property taxes or maybe limits on multiple home ownership,
Mm-hmm.
all designed to cool the market down. They're also looking at tightening mortgage rules and potentially extending land transaction permit zones beyond just Gangnam and Yongsan to that wider Han River area.
So a multi-pronged approach.
Definitely. It's a concerted effort to try and get control of the situation.
And speaking of, long-term shifts and big projects, our sources flag a really unique development in South Korea's energy sector. This is quite interesting.
Mhm.
South Korea's very first nuclear reactor, Korea Unit 1, down in Busan, is actually entering full decommissioning today, June 26th.
Wow, today, that's a milestone.
It really is. It marks Korea as one of the few countries to complete the, quote, full nuclear life cycle. What does that actually entail, completing the full life cycle, and why is it such a big deal?
Yeah, that raises an important question, doesn't it? What does successfully dismantling a reactor mean for the future? Essentially, completing the full life cycle means they haven't just designed and operated a reactor.
Right.
But now they've also safely and systematically taken it apart and restored the site. The Nuclear Safety and Security Commission has officially approved the plan from KHNP, Korea Hydro and Nuclear Power.
And that plan is detailed.
Oh yes, it's a step-by-step 12-year process for dismantling and full site restoration. Industry experts, they really see this as a major turning point for Korea's whole nuclear ecosystem.
A springboard, maybe.
Exactly, a springboard into a huge global decommissioning market. It's projected to reach something like 500 trillion Korean won,
Which is about.
around 400 billion US dollars by 2050, a massive number.
Wow.
So this isn't just about cleaning up old plants. It's really about South Korea positioning itself as a potential global leader in a brand new multi-billion-dollar environmental tech export market.
Creating new industries, new jobs.
Entirely possible, yes.
Yeah.
All driven by the expertise they're demonstrating right now.
So let's bring it all together. What does all this mean for you, our listener? We've covered quite a bit, that specter of stagflation potentially hanging over the U.S. The pretty aggressive measures Seoul is taking to cool its housing market.
Right.
And the surprising emergence of a huge new global industry, nuclear decommissioning, with South Korea taking a lead.
And understanding these distinct stories, which might seem quite separate at first, it helps you grasp how interconnected global affairs really are.
Yeah.
You see how economic pressures, urban growth, technological advancements, they all kind of feed into each other, into that larger global narrative.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you to mull over. As these highly specialized industries, like nuclear decommissioning, continue to grow, how might the practical, hands-on expertise developed in just one nation, like South Korea here, how might that reshape global economic landscapes, maybe international partnerships in ways we haven't even thought of yet, creating potentially new centers of influence and innovation? Something to think about.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.